Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel, Hazel and Aka Design. I cannot wait a moment longer. I said I would wait and open these two thrifted bags of buttons with you. So let's do it, because they're sitting here for days now, calling my name, and I can't stand it anymore. This, of course, is just a temporary holding area. I will then have to add, as you can see, I paid $2 for each of these, and I got them when Carol and I were together in Canmore. So how long have I exhibited such self-control? Well, I'll let you do the math. Okay, sorry. I am I'm going to take these. These are those little buttons that you get as a spare when you buy a garment, a better garment, or something with a non-traditional button that you would be hard-pressed to replace if you lost it. So I'll do that first. Oh, some screws, a buckle, a Canmore pin, Rundle Mountain Hotel and Gasthaus. Gasthaus. Guess it's German. Anyway, it's been a while since I've done a video because, of course, I pre-taped a number before my days in Canmore, and also following almost on the heels of that was our 7-day cruise, Alaskan cruise. And I am whoa, I should be more careful because this is still good. I mean, this can be used. I think, like, Gertie is coming here tomorrow. Gertie, that's our daughter's French bulldog. She's coming here for the long weekend. And I think, and it's stinking hot. I mean, for me, that's too hot, like 30 Celsius. So I'm sure that I will be staying close, staying in air-conditioned comfort. But I was thinking I should probably, bobby pin. God only knows what this is. I'm thinking that is, that Saturday morning, so what day is that? That's August something or other, might be a good day to do a live chat. Sorry, I should have. I just wanted you to know that I didn't open the bag ahead of time. Enjoy Diet Coke, Star Series, Lake Louise. So that's another mountain community in Alberta. Anyway, I am thinking of doing a live chatty thing. Just because I want to talk a bit about the cruise and how my slow stitching went. You know, I packed a bag and was doing that on board. And how I felt since I got back and so on, because I think it may be of some interest to some of you, and it may also, well, it will definitely help me. It'll be better if I do this while the memories are relatively fresh. I did, I don't know if that video is aired yet or not, but I did take a travel journal along, so I want to show you how that worked out. And in fact, maybe that's what I will do to keep my hands busy. Because, you know, idle hands are, what? The devil's workshop? The devil's, I don't know, something about the devil. We can get into trouble if we don't keep our hands busy. And these, maybe I'll just keep that intact for the time being. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of rough sorting. So I think probably the biggest And again, I wish I knew more about buttons. Like these, don't these look kind of special? I don't know. Are they mother of pearl? I'm not sure. Maybe they're not, because they're kind of on the thick side. Anyway, I don't know if I could be blowing smoke here. Who knows? I don't know what I'm talking about. So if you know something about buttons, by all means, clue me in. I think I'm going to put, let's see, we've got a lot of colors here too. So maybe I'll just put white. I don't have enough containers, so maybe I'll just make a pile of clear ones beside me. I don't know how much use clear buttons are, to be honest, but maybe if they were attached to a darker fabric. There are lots of these that have that sort of little square recessed area. And I'll probably, I can't tell what this is, other than somebody has, whoops, I don't know, crocheted something. There probably are holes under there. This one is kind of furry. Not in a good way. Here's some fabric covered ones. You can't, okay, that one's navy, that one's black. Sometimes you can't tell unless you have the contrasting thing beside you. I'll put those sorts of things off to the side as well. And I know you're not going to be able to see everything. Is this, I don't know what that's from. Something like we might see on a bra sometimes. You know, there won't, okay, this is buds. It's not a button. Maybe it was, I don't know what it was. So that'll go off to the side. This will go off to the side. If there's just, you know, kind of one-ofs, like it looks like there aren't that many metal ones, so I'll just put that to the side as well. This shouldn't take a great deal of time because this is not a huge quantity. There are so many of these. Anyway, I probably didn't finish my sentence. I was saying that I made a travel journal, first time in my life. And I obviously, because I guess the nature of cruises is they provide you, it's like the little paper ferries come sometime during the day and just, you know, bombard you with information about, you know, the schedule, what's available, the ports of call, and so on. So I ended up with so much paper, and I realized that the few entries that I did make in the Midori style journal, are really kind of poor because I didn't leave space for, you know, adding stuff in. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how I handle that. Not sure how I'll handle that. Let's throw, this orange is jumping out at me. Let's throw some orange buttons off to one side here. And if I have to combine, you know, if I end up in a sorting process like this, if I end up, that's probably more like for beadwork with the two holes. Oh, and here's more of those. So I don't know, are those trinkets in the Ajana definition of trinkets? If I am sorting things and don't have enough containers, which I don't, clearly with just 4, I just grabbed something that was kind of you know, handy, then I would make it easier on myself and combine, you know, something that is high contrast. So I wouldn't put, say, red with that, because that would be a little harder to differentiate, especially, you know, depending on, I think this is navy, depending on light conditions. Sometimes we're working late, and it could be, you know, hard to tell. Just like sometimes it's hard to tell between black and navy and brown and purple and so on. Okay, I didn't finish. That's kind of cool. And honestly, I think I said that, I must have said that in a recent video, because somebody commented on it, that I don't discriminate against buttons. I love them all. And even one time I bought buttons thinking that they might be valuable. Ha ha. They weren't. They were reproduction. If had they been original, they would have been, you know, like 100 or more years old. So, but I still don't think I've used any of them, because I don't use buttons very often, considering how much I love them. That is a bead. Okay, let's pull out some more white ones. Again, I would, if I weren't doing this on video, I'd be sweeping this to the end of my desk. And, you know, like, if you remember what a bank teller looks like, you know that that's typically how they count, or they would sweep the money, the coins, off their desks. But I don't know, does anyone even know a teller anymore? Does anyone do any in-person banking anymore? I suspect the answer would be no. See, I would just kind of do that into my, whoops, of course. And then they end up on the floor. You know, swishing them into your hand. Oops, let me get that. Sliding into your hand for a little more time saving. But really, when you're working with buttons, does time even factor into anything? Or is it just the sheer joy of looking at the designs, appreciating the colors? Now, I don't think I've ever bought such a mixed bag of color before. You know, typically when you buy an assortment, whether it's at auction or at a thrift store, it's got, you know, you got your hard-working buttons, your whites, your blacks, what I would call shirt buttons, you know, that somebody has salvaged off every man's shirt that has ever come through the household. So to get this much color is actually quite the treat. Now see, this one definitely looks like mother of pearl, and that's typically how much thinner they are. So I don't know what this is, but it's, well, it's plastic anyway, so I don't know. I don't know. Brooch pin back. There were certainly a lot of clear ones. And sometimes these are just used at the back of fabric to help, you know, reinforce things, make it, I think, you know, typically on coats where there could be a lot of, you know, kind of pressure on buttons. I keep these leather or fabric covered ones Okay, what should we do? Maybe I'll use one of these smaller ones for all the purple. I never really had much of a purple collection, so that's a nice surprise too. Look how thick this one is. So tell me in the comments, well, tell me a few things. Tell me if you are new to my channel. Tell me if you love buttons. Tell me how you, well, maybe how you acquired your button collection. Maybe I can put this, since these are big, I'll put these brown ones in between the orange and the blue. Tell me how you store or sort, or number one, do you sort your buttons? And these few gray ones here, or neutrals. Sometimes the neutrals I just kind of lump together, because honestly, if you're doing it, you know, with artificial light, sometimes it's almost impossible to tell. And who's got room for so many containers for every single, here's another one of those, every single variation of a neutral. I'll put this mauve-ish one in there as well. Here's a pink fabric covered one. And then we will just pull out the, I'll put that gray one there. There's another clear one. Here's a white that tried to cross to the other side. Yeah, do you sort your buttons? And do you sort them by color or type? Like, do you keep your metals apart from, you know, plastic ones? Do you love just playing with them? Like running your hands through it, spilling them out? And well, we'll see. That's a fair number of yellow buttons, I must say. And even green for that matter. I don't have that many green buttons. So we'll just, because obviously after, whoops, I didn't separate them. After the video, I do have to pick them off my desk and put, what am I doing? And put them away. So maybe I can just make piles at this point. Okay, let's dump the second container. I think that's navy. I remember when I first started sorting my button collection into jars or vases or canister type containers. All clear, of course. Oh my goodness. Did you see what happened? I mean, clearly, the shriek was the clue that something happened. Oh, brother. So how many of those? Oh, they're still hitting the floor. Obviously, I won't take time now to get on my hands and knees and see what happened down there. But, yikes. Well, I guess I do see a few, so maybe I'll pick them up so I don't roll over them with my chair. I didn't foresee that happening. Anyway, so I had these big plastic trays. I don't know how to describe the size of them. other than they were only about an inch deep, but, maybe 14 inches wide and maybe 20 or 22 inches long. So big trays. And I can't pick that last one up. Oh, there's some behind me too. Oh dear. Anyway, oh, and here's a flower, a ribbon rose. I did that for hours and hours. And I think I was forgetting to blink because, my goodness, my eyes hurt so much. It's crazy, but it's also, I don't know, like you can't stop. You think, well, just a few more, just a few more. And it was far too big a job to even attempt, in one sitting. But did that stop me? No, it didn't. A few more yellow ones. I think I've probably told you I don't care for yellow. But, sometimes you need yellow. So what are you going to do? Ladybug in orange, of all things. Maybe I should turn this way and then more of these. Whoops, a green one got in with the yellows. You'll see more of the actual piles. Yeah, I hit the purple, mauve, lilac jackpot here. Look at how cute some of these are. And tiny, teeny tiny. I don't know if I like that one. Of course, shank button on here's a little teeny. Well, is that a buckle? Could that be a buckle? I will throw that in there because obviously even if it weren't a buckle, it could serve that purpose. Oh, I was also so diligent about removing the fragments of, so the knot came out. Fragments of thread, and then, then you watch a few videos and you see people do that on purpose. Oh, these must be light green. I'm having trouble with them. Okay, I'm picking up blue at this point. You like the ones that look like Smarties? This is the same button in blue now. Don't think there are that many though. And how did these two get wed? And more clear ones in case there was a worldwide shortage. I now have enough for everyone. Okay, that's gray. Yeah, I would find that I would dump out a jar or, bag or whatever receptacle these buttons had been in. And then, of course, your eye gravitates to certain ones. Maybe the brightest or the highest contrast ones. And those, or maybe it's path of least resistance. And then, you keep doing that. It's just like when you're picking produce in the store. You pick the best apple. And then, well, what good is one apple? So you need two, maybe you need six. So then you pick the second best apple, and so on and so on. until maybe they're not so good anymore. So you do the easy ones first. This one, is this? I guess it's special. I was going to say, is it broken? But this one I might just put aside because, you know, it should probably be with kid buttons or something. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're left with a sea of brown, gray, beige, all those neutrals that kind of all look the same after your eyes are crossed. And, you know, it's 11 p.m. and you've been at this for what seems like days. Yeah. So I'm being relatively quick about this because I'm cognizant that you're here and how exciting could this possibly be for you. Why did I put that with the clear ones? But, you know, if you were doing this at home, you'd probably try to relish and look at the buttons a little more than I'm doing. These tend to be, I think the treat here is the vibrancy of the color, not necessarily the variety of the style. You know, there's nothing so spectacular design-wise, but it's just like the colors are great. Let's get a bunch of these yellow ones out. So I guess we'll see how the journaling, travel journaling, and talking live actually goes, because, you know, typically I'm not one of those people that does things without explaining, because I'm thinking, okay, you know, if an explanation wasn't required, then there'd be no sound, you know. So this is a flat back of some kind. We'll put that aside. That's, I don't know, thread or something. Another flat back mauve thing. Let's pull out some blue. So, I don't know, I could embarrass myself with that, journaling, travel journaling. So we'll see. I haven't done any prep other than gather up all the publications and, you know, whatever. That I was surprised at how heavy that all was, because of course that was an additional weight in my suitcase that I hadn't counted on. And, you know, packing, that's another thing. But maybe I'll talk about that on Saturday. Can you imagine that for some people, a sorting exercise like this is beyond their capability because of cognitive problems? Or I'm going to put these, well, this is probably, I think that reads more like an orange. Got some giant orange buttons. I've never quite seen this color before. It's almost like a raspberry color. And look how cute and tiny. . Let's see if I can get some of these on the floor. Another one of these flat things. If I would have realized there were that many orange ones, I probably could have given them their own container. Yeah, so if I do the live, maybe I will introduce you to Gertie. Because I know people tend to, most people like dogs. The only thing I would have to be careful of is how I pick her up, because she has had back issues and back surgery, so we have to treat her like a princess and be very cognizant of how we pick her up. So, and to try to do that gracefully for the camera might be a bit of a long shot. Okay, almost done. A little green stray. I think that one's gray. Okay, now I have to, well, let's get these blue ones in the container. And then pull out these last, and isn't this a nice combination? Reminds me of East Indian color combinations on saris and textiles. Okay, that went better than I thought it would. Whoops, is this a red one? Nope, not that one. Not that one. Maybe I was hallucinating. I guess they're all orange. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So this is what we end up with. I won't bother pulling in those clear ones because you can't see them. And those few red ones got mixed in with the pink. So, does it look like candy? And then, of course, there are those fabric-covered ones, and there are a few metals and new grays, whatever, off to the side here. Oops, here's another one of these. Okay, my curiosity has been satisfied, and now I have those bags off my desk. Those two compact bags have now been replaced with all of this. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here. I know this wasn't much of a video, but I know the button lovers will have enjoyed it. So thank you for joining me. Again, tell me your button stories in the comments. I really want to know. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.